All right.
Yeah.
Ultimate Fighting Chat. That's what we're doing here. We're going to have chats about UFC 278 Usman versus Edwards post-fight version. I'm going to guess that you haven't seen. I'm going to just get straight in if that's all right with you. Straight in.
No time to burn. Just get on with it.
My guess is that you ain't seen early prelims. Correct or not correct?
You are correct.
You know what? I have. The first fight was this one. Maybe you're better at the names, but I'll have a go. Daniel Moijo, or is it Moijo da Silva? What is it? You tell me. Moijo or Moijo?
Don't know. Didn't watch the fight. Carry on.
And don't worry about the fight. Don't mean you don't know how to pronounce his name just because you never watched the fight.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, but what would you say if you had to read that out? How would you read his name out?
Daniel Miojo da Silva.
Oh, Miojo. So not Miojo or Miojo. Yours was actually a little bit more, professional. What about the other bloke?
Victor El Magnifico Altamirano.
Well, just so you know, and you can see at the top of the screen there, it says performance of the night.
Wow, yeah, so good fight, was it?
Honestly?
Well, all good performance by one of them. Got a submission or a finish or something like that?
Well, you've got the results.
Hang on, don't I haven't looked though. Just judging by these two guys, who do I think would win?
Yeah, I like it.
And I think most people would go for the Silva. He looks a bit more of a solid unit. We know muscles and stuff don't mean anything, but he does just look like a bit more of a solid unit. Altamirano, looks like he needs a good meal. So I'm going to go for the Silva.
Well, right. It was a good fight. Genuinely, it was really enjoyable. It did end in the first round, I think, from memory. And this Altamirano, he was getting done on the feet. So you were right? He was getting a bit done. He got knocked down with a punch. He threw like a low kick with no defense, nothing, really close, and got the classic counter. So he got knocked down, but then he stepped in with a knee, and it went right here in the kidneys or liver. It was on the left side, so I'm guessing it was in his liver, right in here underneath. And the Silva bloke went down, crushed up, and he even did a grit teeth pains face, like ah! It was brilliant, right? He went down, he got done, and it was still exciting even when he went down like that, because what's his name, Altamirano, was doing the punches, trying to do him and everything, and he done some disgusting dirt elbows. I mean, they were some of the most powers. A lot of the times, right, we do the chat about this stuff and we say you got down there and you're doing the ground and pound, and you're not doing the ground and pound. You're just laying there and not taking advantage. This bloke, now, to be fair to him, might have been because he was getting a bit done and he thought, all right, well, I've got to make the most of this, right, because I'm a little bit outclassed on the feet version. He was smashing him with some of the most powers ground elbows I've ever seen. I mean, they were disgusting, really dirty ones, cutting him open and everything. But it was still exciting because there was a bit where Da Silva, he was threatening. I know you said blokes don't get done by arm bars, and that's true because he never got done. But he was still threatening with submissions whilst getting elbows. But he did end up getting absolutely smashed from punches because he poshed it up properly, done loads of punches and elbows, and it turned into a classic, your jits ain't nothing. You turn into a white belt if you're getting smashed in the face. Good fight, though. Really, the whole thing was interesting. It weren't very long, but the whole fight was exciting. It was a good one. I know why it got performance. And you know what? I'm glad that they did as well, because you'd think that a fight that a lot of people won't see, whether it be live or like you haven't seen it, they would probably go, that was brilliant, but whoever gives out these bonuses ain't even seen it either. Was Dana White even in there at that point? I don't know. But I like it that he got it because it was good. I ain't saying it deserved it over other fights. I'm just saying it was good.
Sometimes I think that, you're talking there about elbows and ground and pound, and sometimes how it can look. Sometimes people throw it and it looks really vicious, and then sometimes other people throw it and you think, oh, blimey, you couldn't even crack an egg with those shots.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's got to do with how your opponent is feeling as well, right? If you're saying this guy's all crushed up, so he's not really, if you like, using his guard properly, he's not, he's just in survival.
He did have it up. But
yeah, but if you're just in
didn't matter.
survival mode, you can kind of tee off on someone. Whereas if someone's, is at least wriggling about, like Anderson Silva used to do dodges when he was, on the mat with Sonnen and stuff. I mean, Sonnen really couldn't break an egg with his punches, but it doesn't matter. He still was, because he was doing dodges. It makes you less likely to commit fully to the shots. You think, I'm going to smash my elbow through the canvas or smash my fist through the canvas. So you have to kind of take a little bit off it. So maybe it's got something to do with that. When you know that the person's just a sit and duck, you can really go to town. I did actually want to bring up some elbows later on in the evening, which I thought were quite good ground and pound.
Yeah,
we'll get to that later. But yeah, I agree. I think it's good that.
They'd probably be from the woman fight.
That's right. Yeah. Pudilova. We'll get to that though. And I think that it's good that let's be honest, right? A couple of lads opening up the prelims.
They were good.
They probably were just on a basic, 12 and 12, something like that, money wise. That's a nice little 50 grand for a bit nasty in it, because you look at it and you go, I've forgotten his name, Altamirano. He's going to get 50 grand. And the guy that had to absorb all that damage and get his face smashed in goes home with nothing.
Did they not both get it?
I don't think so.
I thought they did, but I don't know.
The night is just for the individual person, right?
Oh, is it really?
And I think fight of the night or whatever.
Oh, it's because it's both people made that fight.
Exactly.
The thing is, both people
say as an example, if Masvidal Usman, let's take that for example. Masvidal, unless the whole fight up until the point when Masvidal gets knocked out, he doesn't get the bonus. He only gets the bonus if it's fight of the night, between both of them. If he just gets knocked out, then Usman would get the bonus for knocking him out, performance of the night. So, you're the person that takes the damage and you don't even get a little bit of extra coin.
I mean,
I understand it. I'm just saying it's a bit rough, isn't it?
It does make sense what you're saying. I don't know if it's real or not, but it does make sense. The worst thing about that is not just that he got smashed in and he got his face busted open, but he did make that fight brilliant. He was winning it. He was doing amazing. He just got done by, a body shot, a knee. It was a good knee. You sort of walked into it. But, like you throw elbows when you see him training and they throw out on those UFC dummies on the floor. And they're going hell for leather. Bang, bang, bang. And then they get into a fight and don't do anything. He was doing those dummy elbows on the bloke's head. It was really powers. Yeah, good. Really good. And... yeah, good fight that. Good fight. So good. Both of them, I liked them. I'd like to see both of them again, to Silva and Altamirano. I mean, Altamirano, he did amazing. But before that, it was like, oof, zero defense, everything. Just, he was a real bandy sort of bloke, just throwing anything. Open it a stick version. And he was getting done for it. Don't matter, though. He sorted it out. What was that? Was that a round one finish? Did it say on there, please?
I don't know. You're the...
No, but I didn't put that down. That's why I wanted you to.
It says here, Victor Altamirano defeated, round 1, 3 minutes 39 TKO, punch and elbows. But it says on Wikipedia that the guy he fought was called Daniel Lacerda. So I don't know where you got that Mioho from. Anyway, don't matter. Go on to the next one.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
Weapons.
Let's go on to the next one.
All right. Okay. Anyway, good that. The next one is, let's get the shot up for you. There you go. I'm just going to call him the Mongolian murderer, but I'll give you...
Is that his nickname, Mongolian murderer?
Well, I don't know, because I get it all wrong now. Mojito's wrong and all that. I don't know. That's what it said. I mean, it's an amazing nickname, isn't it, that?
That is absolutely fantastic.
That is good. So what's his name? Aoriqileng. Aoriqileng. That all right? Not bad, is it?
Watched it, right? Yeah, Jay Perrin. Right.
So you get to do Jay Perrin, the normal Inga's name, yeah? Savage. Yeah. What about Savage? Bit round the middle, that, isn't it? The Mongolian murderer. That is serious stuff.
Brilliant, yeah.
This fight, it was quite enjoyable. This and all, it was quite good. This Perrin bloke, he ain't very good technically. He looks a bit, not non-real, but you know what some MMA blokes are like. He's just a bloke who has a fighter bloke, right? He weren't very good technically, but honestly, he was good. And the reason I liked and enjoyed watching him is because he was definitely worse than the Mongolian murderer, as in the Mongolian murderer had good, crisp striking, looked good, but he weren't scared. and he weren't afraid to take a risk and get in there and do what he needed to do to try and win. He knew I could get done here, but I'm going to have an absolute smash, because how else am I going to win this fight? By being worse? I've got to get in there and try and do him. And he made it entertaining by doing that. So I think he knew he was worse and he knew he was losing, but each time he took a risk and smashed in there, right? Each time he went, I'm going to get in here and have a good go because I'm losing on points, for example, he actually had success, because the other bloke was going, well, I'm getting done here or whatever. So he had success. So the more he did that, the more confidence he got, and he started taking those risks a little bit more frequent, and it made it a good, interesting fight. Actually, it's one of those fights that, had it continued beyond 3 rounds, obviously it don't, it's a sport, and he lost that fight. Had it continued beyond 3 rounds, I think he would have won, because he was the grittier. Yeah, it was enjoyable. Yeah, he did get done, right? Decision.
You use the tools to your advantage, don't you? Sometimes, and like you say, if you're outclassed technically, you have to, turn it into a brawl, turn it into a street fight, as they say. So yeah, fair play.
Or just lose. He went out on his shield. He done that version.
Yeah, left it all in the cage. Good for him. All right, next.
Okay, hang on. The next one is yeah, right. And this is another one you ain't seen. This is still an early prelim, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go 3 for 3. This was good and all. Let's do the names. Amir the Prince Albazi. Now, what I will say is, in his post-fight interview, I think he's been off with some injuries, yeah? So he went, the king is back. So I don't know if I've got his name wrong and all, because I've got down here that he's the prince, right? But so that might be 3 for 3 wrong names and all. But he went, the king is back. I was like, I thought your name was the prince. Anyway, versus Francisco Sniper Figueiredo. That's Davis's brother, isn't it?
Yep.
It was a good fight as well. Really aggressive ground and pound in this one as well. But when Figueiredo was getting done by this ground and pound, he was also threatening with submissions and a leg lock and that, which made it competitive. But in the end, Albazi got round to his back and put in a skin sight rear naked choke and done him. But honestly, that was a good fight as well. Because it was no messing about. It was just a good tear up. That was good.
Yeah. It was that Albazi's first fight since January 2021. So, that's a long time. That's over a year and a half. So
we got a little bit of, information there. I liked it.
Not much. Anyway, yeah. He's all right, that Figueiredo.
I think he's all right as well. Does keep getting done, doesn't he? I think he might have won his last one.
He's kind of a bit of a win-one, lose-one, isn't he? He's sort of, can't really put a bit of a run together. Let's have a quick look. So he's had, in UFC, he's had one loss. So exactly what I said.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Shows your extensive knowledge of the game.
Even when I'm not trying.
So that was the early prelims. They were all good. All enjoyable fights, no stinkers or anything like that. And we're just on to normal prelims now. I believe, these are the ones where, for us, this is the first televised fight. So I know you've seen this one.
Yeah, I've seen all these.
That's it, right. So AJ, the Ghost Fletcher, versus Ange Loosa. Losa, they were calling
it. Ange Loosa.
Ange Loosa. Okay. Well, we'll go with the broadcast because Anik was on it, and we know he's the, whatever, the golden seal or whatever. Yeah. Right. As soon as they both come out, you get a feel, don't you, straight away? Like you got a feel when Misha Tate came out. Not a feel of her, but you got a feel of what you thought.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get a feel of her, but yeah, I know what you mean.
but you know, what I mean? But you went, I know what's going to happen here. Just from the shot, even if you're wrong, you make a judgment sometimes based on stance, footwork. And when they came out, I said that this, what's his name? Loosa.
Ange Loosa, yeah.
Loosa. I just thought, I like the way he looks. Not the bod. The body's amazing, but that weren't what I meant. I like the way he looks. I like the way he held his hands. I like the way he moved his hands as he came out. As soon as Fletcher threw a leg kick, he just shifted his leg out of the way, showed he was light on his feet and ready for attacks and all that. I just thought he seemed really aware and really good. But the commentary team were going, AJ this and AJ that, and what's going on here and blah, blah, blah. He's brilliant. And AJ, and I was thinking, what's happening here? But am I watching a different fight? Because I was thinking this Loosa bloke, I feel he looks quite good myself. But by the time there was 15 seconds left in the fight, they were saying, you know, in the round, phenomenal first round for Loosa. It was all, look at Loosa mixing it up and all that. I was thinking, well, I see all this, Sage. I see all this when he walked out. When the bloke said, you ready? And he came out.
Didn't look that big on a fight night as that picture you got of him there. He was bloody huge.
Oh, you saying the picture's good and the real wasn't like that?
No, the real, I mean, he looked amazing for real, but I mean, there he looks absolutely monstrous. I mean, what weight were these guys? Were they something like welterweight or something? They weren't like big boys, were they? Yeah, it's welterweight. Yeah. He looks absolutely massive, that Loosa, in that picture. Well,
look, good. I'm not going to say, I'll finish and then you can go. I'm not going to say that this AJ Fletcher was no good or anything, right? I'm not. But what I'm saying is, yeah, I know that's why I had to confirm and clarify that I weren't. But I thought that in round 2, so this AJ Fletcher, he went hell for leather, right? I'm sure you remember. And under the pressure, I think Loosa handled it well. He handled all the pressure, handled everything he got given. I just think even the cardio, looking at his body and the muscle business, I think he held out well. Just to me, he showed a lot in this fight. That's all. He showed me a lot of different things in this fight. Over to you. He's the one who stood out for me. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I do remember both of these guys from their previous fights. Loosa, as they mentioned, he came in on short notice, didn't he? And I can't remember the guy's name. I'll get it for you though. But anyway, when he came in on like a week's notice, he fought someone, and I remember thinking, you know what, this Loosa guy is really good. I remember having a chat with you about it at the time and saying, that Loosa guy was really good. If he had a full camp, maybe he'd have won that fight. So I remember thinking early on, he's decent, this guy. Yeah. Now, the Fletcher guy, I actually thought he looked a lot better this time from his first fight. His first fight was, or his last fight, should I say, he lost to Semmelsberger. And it was pretty close. I think he lost again with cardio, which is kind of what failed him this time as well. And but to me, he was getting picked off quite easy in the first round. His range management weren't very good, right? It's kind of quite short and stumpy, you know, stocky, muscly guy. And he was getting, he was just getting picked off, and his face, I don't know if his face was mashed up after round 1, but I think it was starting to get mashed up after the first round. I know he's a fair-skinned guy, so he probably tears quite easy, but yeah, I mean, Loosa for me, easy got round 1, easy, no question about it. Fletcher, to me, just looked like a sort of a stocky wrestler with an overhand right early on.
Yeah.
Now, later on, I actually warmed to him and thought, you know what, he's actually not bad as well.
I thought it was all right. I enjoyed this fight, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good fight. And you're saying that Loosa kept a cool head in round 2. I do think he was only maybe one clean strike away from, going.
Yeah.
So yeah. I get why Fletcher emptied the gas tank. A little bit like you said with the first fight, he might have thought this is my best chance of winning this fight. Is just to get rid of him, because if he recovers and it just goes back to how it was round 1, I'm just going to get picked apart again. And obviously he didn't finish Loosa. And when the bit that I just sort of, it was one of those things where I look at and I just go, what were you thinking? Is when he was still consistently landing shots, and he would land one shot and I think to myself, one more of them in quick succession and it's over, but he couldn't get that other one in quick enough. And then he shot in for a double leg up against the cage.
Yeah.
Maybe that. What are you doing?
Breath. No breath.
I know it's no breath, but aren't we always told the wrestling is the most grueling aspect of the sport? Isn't that what we're told? Right?
Yeah, he was doing. I know what you mean, because he was going from punches to grappling.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's even more tiring, right?
Well, apparently so. But even if you say, look, he's gassed out his arms, so he's just trying to get the guy dumped on the mat and then he can rest a bit. It's like, doesn't matter. You're going to get stood up in round 3 and you're going to be from a standing position anyway. I know he was probably just really concerned about his gas tank, but I just looked at
that bloke is. Hang on, hold on. Let me see who that is. Hang on.
All right, I can see you're wearing pants as well. I've just got a little glimpse of that. So that's.
Well, I mean, I could have been wearing no pants.
Yeah, keep this bit in the podcast, because we've seen that you've got your legs out, and.
Yeah, but I could have been wearing no pants.
Well, that would have been worse. That definitely would have needed an edit. But
continue.
I think that Fletcher, Look, I get why he did what he did, but I mean, he went out for round 3. He had nothing in him, arms wise, throwing strikes. He had nothing in him, and it was one of those scenarios where when he got dumped on his back, it was just like, if someone offered me decent odds of this guy not getting up off his back, I'd have taken it. I knew he weren't scrambling, he weren't going to get up off his back, he weren't going to manage to, get up, shrimp up to the cage. I knew it was done. So it was a really entertaining fight. I thought both of them were decent, but I do think that Ange Lucie is a good, at the moment, mid-tier fighter. Could potentially go higher, but I think he's decent.
Yeah, agreed. And that third round was a bit drippy, wasn't it? Because, like you say, it was just
it kind of ruined the fight a bit, right?
It
did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so it weren't great. But he said in the post-fight interview, he said, that's why I had to do the ground thing, because I was tired and all. He's done good truth.
That's fair enough. Got to do what you got to do. Never mind about us two, whether we enjoyed round 3 or not. It's like, you just got to do what you got to do to get the win. So, fair play.
But overall, it was good. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that the Loosa bloke is...
No, he's really good. I really liked him from his... when he came in on short notice against... I did say I'll get you the name, and I will get you the name. Just
Let's have it, because I might remember it. I don't think I will, but I'll try.
I've lost the name. I had it. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Hey.
Munir Laziz, who I actually decent as well. Munir Laziz. Anyway, let's move on from that.
I need a shot. From the name, I've got nothing. All right, next fight. Sean the Sniper Woodson versus Luis Saldana.
Can we have a chat about that tattoo first?
Does it say "Born Ready"? Does it?
Yeah.
What's the building?
It looks like like a skyline. I don't know, maybe he's from New York or something. I don't know. That's what it looks like. I ain't analysed it particularly closely, but when I said, can we have a chat about that tattoo, I didn't need to chat about it that much, but we've pretty much covered it.
It's just, yeah, but...
let's put it like this. If someone came along to you and said, you have no choice, you have to have that tattoo in that position on your body, or you have to have Darren Elkin's damage one in the same position on your body, which one are you choosing?
I think I'm going damage. I like the word better than Born Ready. It's smaller.
I'd like to get a little poll going on that. We should do like a tournament of bad tattoos. So Born Ready versus the damage. Alan Belcher's Johnny Cash tattoo.
That's brilliant.
All that, and just see who has got the worst tattoo in UFC history. But this guy, he might be born ready to win that tournament. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it ain't good. Well, let me know what you think of this. What you think of this fight? Then, what about the bod on him? He's a very strange looking bod, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah,
good bod for fights, though, isn't it?
Sorry,
the Woodson. He's got a good bod for fights, though, isn't he? Long and all that.
Long and rangy, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What did you think of this fight? Speak to me about it. I'll let you go first.
I absolutely hated it.
I loved it. Tell me why.
Because it was honestly,
well,
right. But there's some things about it I do like. The fact that Woodson got, I think he don't get enough credit for this. He got knocked out. When he got followed down to the mat after that knee, he ate a couple of punches and got knocked out. Right, he was knocked out on that canvas. That's the bottom line. As far as I'm concerned, the fight shouldn't have carried on after that. It should have been a DQ. And I think he needs a lot more. I don't remember him getting. I remember them sort of giving him some props, but I think he deserved. When we've seen stuff like Aljamain Sterling, who was the guy recently who done it with the knee? I think it was a heavyweight guy or something. We've seen a couple of incidents lately where people have taken, let's just say, questionably the easier route and gone for, I'll get the
there was another bloke.
There was a guy, and when he found out that it wasn't going to be a DQ in his favour, he kind of done a bit. He
asked, didn't he? He said to the, do you want to continue? And he went, well, let me just confirm. He committed back, right?
Yeah. Am I getting my hand raised here or not?
Yeah.
So we've seen that a couple of times, and I think the fact that he definitely got put out. He was out for a split second. His eyes went in the back of his head, and he was like, Poosh. And so he was knocked out cold. as far as I'm concerned, probably if they knew that, I mean, I don't know if they knew that or what, he wouldn't have been allowed to carry on, you know, if Ratman saw it. But
Obviously, he was allowed to carry on because it was from an illegal strike, right?
yeah, but do they know that he was actually out cold? That there was one point where he was out cold. As far as I'm concerned, he was out cold. I don't think you can carry on after that. I wouldn't have thought legally you can carry on after.
Well, no one said he was, so I'm going to say that no one noticed or didn't want to notice.
He was out after. It wasn't the knee; it was the couple of follow-up strikes. He went out cold. Right, his legs went limp and everything. I mean, they always look pretty limp, his legs, to be fair, but they did go really limp.
Even more limp.
They basically turned into 2 bits of jelly, you know? And so I think he deserves a lot of credit for the fact that the guy who said, well, do you want to carry on? And he didn't do well, hang on a sec, will I win the fight if he gets disqualified? He didn't know, he just went, he even turned into Mickey Mouse. Did
he was a real high pitch, wasn't
it? Yeah. Yes. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. You know, I really liked that.
Yeah, no one made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
They make a big deal if the person does the other thing, but yeah, no one said anything like, oh, he's a warrior doing that. No one said now.
Yeah, I thought he deserved a lot of praise for that. And not only that, you know, he obviously, that's it. And not only that, he obviously won the following rounds, right? Because that's what got him the draw. So I don't think he won both the rounds. Not all the judges.
It was a split draw.
Definitely got round 3.
Yeah, but I'm non-real at maths, but yeah, because you got the point deducted for the knee to the face.
Yeah, and it was all about whether the judges scored it 10-8 that first round, and then it went off, so it would have been 9-8. Regardless, I think he deserves credit for carrying on and being competitive and probably winning at least the third round. I thought that Saldana wasn't very good.
Loved him.
You would have loved him because he kept on doing, you know, this stuff and all this. That's why you would have loved him, right? But I don't think he looks that great.
I agree with his corner. His corner said to him when he was winning the fight, because let's face it, you can say he weren't that good. He mashed Woodson, illegal knee out of it. He's beating Woodson up, right? Knocked him down with jab.
When I say don't look that good, I'm talking relatively speaking about.
Okay,
but stuff like that.
When he was doing what he needed to do, which was keep him at range, throw a load of kicks, when he saw the opportunities, throw decent straight punches, he was winning that fight, right? Obviously, he was winning that fight. So I actually thought he was all right. I know why you're saying he wasn't that good, but yeah, you're right. I liked it that he knocked him down and didn't just jump on him. I loved it that he just went, right, get back here. And we didn't see it on the broadcast. Just at the end of one of the clips, on the replays, he went down on his knee as well. Now, I like stuff like that. I like it. It's entertaining. It's a bit Anderson Silva style. You know, he's my favourite. It shows a lot of confidence that he's like, well, I'll just do it again, no problem. Whereas Dana White...
do it again, right? Decked him with a jab.
Right, exactly. But Dana White, on the other hand, is like, that kid's learnt a lesson there. You got to finish the fight and all that. But I'm like, no, I loved it. You know, let's have it. Let's have another smash or whatever. So I liked it. But...
Yeah, I'm probably being a bit hot. Oh, there's a cat spraying its scent all over my flowers, literally outside my back door.
Brilliant.
But there was, I think he was, I was probably being a bit harsh on him. And I also did like the, come on, stand back up.
Get back up, yeah. Because if you can't get back up, then the fight's over.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially he wasn't the favourite, right? He was a huge underdog and stuff like that. There was aspects of his, if you like, his nature and all that I thought were good. I just didn't like the fight because I just don't think he should have carried on after that knee landed. It's a real shame for that Saldana, right? Because if he didn't throw that knee, he probably would have got a performance bonus and everything.
Probably,
but that knee basically ruined everything for him. He ended up having to continue the fight. He definitely lost round 3. Round 2, I don't know how it was scored with the judges, but obviously he ended up him only getting a draw. So he kind of snatched a draw from the jaws of victory because Goldson was basically at a point where he couldn't take any of that guy's shots. I mean, that jab just, almost knocked him out cold.
I did like it because he sort of didn't stay in the middle. He sort of moved to the side, and I did think it was a good jab. I know why he got done by it, but as you say, he just couldn't take anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed
he did well, didn't he, though, to come back into that fight, Woodson?
Yeah. For me, saying I hated that fight, I actually didn't hate that fight. It had a lot of drama, had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It was actually pretty good. But I don't like the fact that I don't think Goldson got the credit he deserved for carrying on without any kind of...
Who?
Woodson.
No,
I did
no,
say
wait.
Goldson. I did say Goldson. Yeah, I don't know why. Who's Goldson?
It's a good name.
I have no idea. I have no idea who he is.
He's brilliant.
But
Goldson.
yeah, it's me saying he deserves credit, and I can't even get his name right. But yeah, I do think he deserves credit for fighting on. So, but I don't think he should have been allowed to.
What about
He should have been a DQ.
the split draw? Good. I mean, with all the drama that went on, I like that result. It went brilliant because whoever won that fight, I would have gone, well, he shouldn't really have won it because he done an illegal strike, and Goldson shouldn't have won it because he lost it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I liked the result.
It's kind of like the fairest outcome. You know, the fairest outcome for Goldson, whoever he is.
Yeah, wasn't it though? It kind of made sense. I went, yeah, that was a good result. That's why.
So you're right. It was a brilliant fight. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one. We're still on the prelims, aren't we? Yeah, so we're still on prelims. The next one. Ooh. All right, okay. Leonardo Santos versus Jared Flash Gordon. From memory, I think I might have seen a few maybe interesting, exciting Santos fights, but I don't know if I've ever seen a exciting Flash Gordon fight. Was he always in stinkers or what?
I don't think so. I think he's all right, but I think Santos is just one of those infuriating blokes now, isn't he?
I know. I forgot to ask you a question.
Ask me
about the Goldson and Saldana fight.
Ask me.
The Beltran, the ref.
Do
you think he could have been more clearer after that illegal knee, letting Goldson know, look, you've got 5 minutes here. You don't need to. Is that his job? Should he have, because he knows he's been dazed, should he have been more clear? Maybe he's not allowed to. Maybe it's not his job. Maybe it's his job to go, you've got 5 minutes to recover, and I don't care if you take 2 seconds or 5 minutes. Or do you think he could have been a little bit more like, listen, you just got mashed. Take the full 5.
Well, we don't see the whole broadcast, right? So maybe there's time he did make that clear at a point where I don't know, we had to listen to Daniel Cormier chatting absolute balls. So he might have made that clear. But if he didn't, I do think it is his job. You see it often with referees, right? Where they'll say, no rush, are you sure you're ready? You've got 5 minutes. You know, they will really sort of say, you know, calm down, take your time, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but this was a bit like, you know, keep it clean, let's go. It's like, it's done.
That's what I mean. It's like, and he was out cold as well. I'm telling you, he got knocked out. And he basically got given like 45 seconds to recover. Aljamain Sterling basically, you know,
took the full 5 along with the belt.
yeah, took the full 5, the belt, the rematch, took everything. Brilliant.
Everything, yeah. Brilliant, yeah. So. Exactly. All right, yeah, just wondered because I just thought it was a little bit like rushing the broadcast going, well, let's go then, let's have a fight. So, well, hold on a minute. That's a legit 5 minutes, that. Or, as you said, maybe even stop the fight and go, don't matter whether you meant it or not, this guy's not fit to continue. Look, you could say he proved he was fit to continue because of the next couple of rounds. But just because you carried on fighting for the next couple of rounds, it don't mean he was fit to continue just from that. Maybe he was.
There's not a situation where you should be knocked down and then carry on fighting. Even Bisping versus Silva, right? That knee at the end of the round. Bisping wasn't out.
No.
He was down, dazed, confused, you know, on Queer Street, whatever you want to call it. He wasn't out. This Goldson, because that's his name now, Goldson, he was out.
All right. Okay. All right, I'm just checking. So, all right. Well, back onto this one.
Right. We're talking about Leonardo Santos, right? Just interesting. I mean, he has got a couple of good wins on his record. You know, the Kevin Lee KO was obviously, you know, a high point, but that is one that's probably over time has aged.
How did he do him?
Not knockout. I think it was like a straight right hand.
Oh, okay.
It was a nice knockout, but it's one that probably hasn't aged as well because obviously Kevin Lee as his career has taken a bit of a downward turn, even though I think he's brilliant. So
yeah, good.
So, but before that, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'd won 7 and drawn 1 of his first 8 fights in the UFC. So he was doing amazing. And then he's come back and lost his last 3. They mentioned he was 42 on the broadcast. And honestly,
I didn't notice that. He don't look 42. He looks all right, doesn't he?
He does look, decent for 42. Most fighters do, right? Because they keep himself in really good nick.
What about Marcin Duba?
Yeah, I know, but remember, he was about 63 when he entered the organisation.
What about Cub Swanson?
God knows what age he is now.
Swanson.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I can't.
Well, it's only a couple I've given you. You know what I mean? Only a couple.
Yeah. Here you go. Here's another one. Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
He looks about 40 from day one. So, what about Rani Yahya? I swear he's about 50.
Oh my God, he looks about 90. And the way he fights is about 90 and all.
Yeah, so there's a fair
Not 90 miles an hour.
But yeah, I think he's Santos. He one of those. The frustrating thing about watching people like him fight is, as they said on the broadcast, he's a highly decorated jiu-jitsu fighter who seems to no interest in taking.
Oh, he does do fist. Yeah, goes in and does a smash. Yeah.
It's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'd be so infuriated. If I was in his corner, I'd be so infuriated. To me, 90% of that guy's training camp should be thinking about how to get the fight to the mat.
All right, well, but
and because of that, I ended up having to watch 15 minutes of that. So
it was crap, that fight, wasn't it?
I'm pretty furious about it. So yeah,
I didn't like it. Yeah, it was a bad one. It was a bad one. I've not got much to say about it either, because I also don't want to prolong it. We've already both been done with 15 minutes of it. There was a couple of bench grabs in there that came up during the fight, what Herb Dean did nothing about. You know, I'm not saying it's a discussion point. If you say anything, it is. If you don't, I ain't bothered either.
Well, it obviously became relevant later, right?
Why?
There was another fight where he reset them. Leon Edwards, right? He reset Leon Edwards for grabbing the fence.
Yeah. Was it the same Herb Dean's? I think it was.
It was because I remember Rogan saying, quite funnily, I know we're going to talk about this properly later, but I remember Rogan saying when he reset him, he goes, and that's why Herb Dean's the best in the game. And I went, huh? Has Herb Dean got that reputation, has he?
Well, maybe.
Not amongst people I know. Most people
maybe he was asleep in that Santos Gordon fight, you know what I mean? Never saw it. But yeah, look, he did used to have that reputation for sure, but
yeah, he lost that about 8 years ago, and he's never got it back. So,
all right.
I don't think he's a rubbish ref, by the way. I don't think he's like the worst, and we've always discussed about how difficult a job that is. You have to make split-second decisions, not like boxing, right? Where someone goes down, and as a ref, you've got 10 seconds, one to count, but also to get your thoughts in order. This is one where somebody gets hit, you see their eyes roll in the back of the head. You race over, you intervene, but when the guy his back hits the canvas, he wakes back up and grabs an ankle just as you're getting involved. It's like, and then everyone's like, "You knobhead, you ruined that fight." It's like, but he was out. He was out. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't in that job. I think it's a really difficult job to do, and I don't think Herb Dean's terrible at it. All MMA referees will make mistakes, but I definitely think he's made a few. I was watching one on Twitter the other day, someone posted, where he actually kind of got involved in the fight, actually kind of went between them and then then afterwards went, "No, I've changed my mind," and then said, "Carry on." So
I love it.
You can't. But anyway,
you can change it. Well, you can't only can't change it. Well, look, so the fence grabs, and then it was such a boring fight that he was standing there after winning, because he won, didn't he, on decision, Jared Gordon? Yeah, and he was standing there going, "Where's my post-fight interview?" And they were like, no, you've had 15 minutes. You just taken 15 minutes of this broadcast. You ain't having no more. So yeah, he got banned. Stood there and went.
Right. He went like this, then he went like that, and then it just cut to the ad break. The other thing as well is I think maybe because stuff like the Goldson fight, they're running a bit behind on the broadcast, because I know that it did overrun into the
main card. It did. You're right.
Yeah, it ran over into the main card, so they're probably running a bit behind. And they thought, we're already running behind. There is no way we're giving you an extra 5 minutes after that.
No.
They should have done what that Russian promoter done. Do you remember when he walked in the cage in round 5 recently and said, "This fight's over. I'm banning it."
Well, I don't know. I don't remember it.
There was a fight between, I think it was in Russia, and it was so boring that the promoter came in.
I do remember it.
The last round and said, "Forget it.
You sent the clip over.
Just forget it. This fight's over." So
I don't care what you say. I ain't having this on my watch. It stinks.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stick to the prelims. We won't give him any more time either. We won't give him a post-fight either. The next fight, I mean, terrible fight. Marcin Tybura. What does Tybura mean? Because there's got to be a good reason for that nickname. And there was maybe Tybura means something.
Oh, well,
it's just a bit of his name, isn't it?
Carry on.
Versus Alexandr, which is King Kong Romanov. And he said before the fight, I know you probably wouldn't have watched these bits. I don't either, but I just managed to catch a bit where he said he wants to show people his great shape. And then all he did was lay on Tybura in round 1, and at the start of round 2, he had 0 breath. I was like, what's going on here? What the flip's going on?
Well, I've got a picture of him on my screen now, and that don't look like a great shape to me either. It's not the reason I'm going down the gym every day. Let's put it like that.
I mean, it ain't bad for a big un, but...
it isn't. And neither of them are, right? To be fair, for heavyweights.
They are both all right, yeah.
Yeah, they're both actually all right for heavyweights.
But this is a bad one, wasn't it?
It was. I actually liked Tybura, and I've actually.
Yeah, I think he's all right.
I actually quite liked Romanov's fights.
Yeah, because he just does flashes, doesn't he? Yeah.
So he's kind of good when that. It seems probably at that slightly level below where he can just get guys to the mat, because he was doing some wicked suplexes, right, in the first round on Tybura. But then after that, it just seemed he had nothing to offer. A little bit of strikes, but it just seemed like he was hoping to nick another round, nick one of the last 2 rounds and then get a decision. That's what it looked like to me. And Tybura, I think, is quite good. So he didn't really win both those rounds that convincingly. I think he won them both. But let's put it like this. If someone gave Romanov one of those 2 rounds, I wouldn't have been outraged by it. I'd have been like, right,
it was decision Tybura, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah. 29-28.
Oh, yeah, because he was undefeated bloke, wasn't he?
Romanov. That's right, 16, no. One judge gave it 28-28, so obviously gave Romanov a 10-8 round in the first round, which I wouldn't do because even though he was completely dominant, there was no point where I thought Tybura was in trouble or at risk of being finished or in, taking...
No damage. And damage is one of the things, so...
Exactly, yeah. So I wouldn't have scored it at 10-8. It was... I mean,
if anything, like I say, once they got up, to me, if you didn't know what had happened, you'd say Romanov's losing because he could barely walk and breathe. And he was the one winning round 1, you know what I mean? You give him a 10-8 and he can't even basically fight for the rest of the fight. Crap. Didn't like it.
No, wasn't the most entertaining fight there's ever been. There's no doubt about it.
I've got a question about what's his name? Saldana.
We've done him. It's finished.
No. On his right hand, he's missing his index finger, and you normally know why things like that. What do you know why?
Did they not say on the broadcast?
No. Just they said that he's missing it, and I went, oh. And I could then notice that the glove was, up, if you know what I mean, because it weren't crushed with the rest of his. So you could then see he was missing it, but I didn't hear them. I didn't get rid of that fight. I didn't fast forward it. I didn't hear them say why. It's like I was meant to know, and I wondered if you did know, and if you didn't know, can you tell me, please? Because that's...
I don't know, and I also don't know why...
Luis Saldana finger, please.
I'll put it in. It ain't come up. Someone like, what's his name, needs to... Oh, no, that's not it. Someone like The Hat or John Morgan.
Oh, yeah, write an article on it, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to write an article on it. Don't know, so that's that.
Okay,
yeah.
No worries. Well, look.
And I don't know what Tybura means either. So what a crap podcast this is. Get rid of it. Done.
That's not our fault. Well, no, I suppose we should be more informed. But anyway, that's the prelims done. So we'll go straight onto the main card. And we ain't going to mess around. So let's get the shot up for you. Okay. All right. Tyson Pedro versus...
crap there, doesn't he?
Isn't it a bad shot?
Looked quite good on the night. This is like they woke him up after, I don't know, a stag do or something. It's terrible.
Where's Harry the Hurricane Hunsucker? I suppose it was a good fight. I suppose, right?
It wasn't really, as in it wasn't a good fight. There wasn't a fight, so to speak. But it was it was, if you like, it was over quickly, which is, and it had a, knockout finish, kind of a TKO finish, which obviously is exciting for a lot of people. So in that regard, I guess it was all right, wasn't it?
Do you think the first, proper punch that Hunsucker took where he did a crease face, do you remember it? He kind of made him step back. He sort of went, "Argh!" and got done by it before the knockout, right?
Yeah.
The bit that made him back up. In a way, even though he showed, right, and I looked at him and went, oof, he's really reacted to that. I still think he took it good, as in he didn't shy away, duck away, run off. It was a natural reaction, but he still stayed in there, and he's got done. But is this Pedro good?
I think he is good. Yeah,
looks quite good, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he is good. The Hunsucker, I think this is his first fight at light heavy, right? Because he's for Tuivasa and stuff like that. I think he's had a bit of a nasty introduction. Let's have a quick look. I think he's had, Tyson, Pedro, obviously light heavyweight. But he's also fought Justin Tafa and Tai Tuivasa. So,
he's fighting all these tattooed New
Zealand.
Zealand.
Like it. They seem to be giving him all these rock hard dudes from Oceania, wherever. So, bit nasty, but he got some toes to the gut, and that was all she wrote.
That's right. That's right. That was good, that front kick.
Yeah, I think he's good, Pedro. I don't know.
Good.
I don't know what else you want me to say about it. Do you want me to just chat crap for
perfect spot after a decent punch? It's good. He showed what else do we want him to do? He dealt with it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I agree. I think he's good. So we don't need to worry about chats about that fight now. We can move on to the next one, can't we? Because all right. Okay.
Don't need to worry about chats about this one either, do we?
Well, I mean, you wanted to chat about some elbows, so we will. Wu Mulan Yanan versus Lucie Pudilova. And I'm with you. It's kind of like, well, all right, so what? But I picked up that you wanted to have a chat about the elbows, and I don't blame you, by the way.
Looks to me like Pudilova was out with Hunsucker.
Pudilova was out.
Yeah, remember I said his photo looked like he'd been out on a stag do.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like Pudilova was with him.
Didn't she? Oh, she looks a bit drawn, but didn't she have like all cut lip and all that in all the chats and everything as well?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I'm sure it had a smashed in lip doing chats and all that. Well, she's a fighter.
Yeah, you expect some damage. I thought her elbows were brilliant.
So did I.
I thought she got this girl in a position and showed killer instinct and basically just went, I'm finishing this now. And honestly, I don't think there's many people that would have been able to look. I know there's lots of people that would not have maybe been in that vulnerable situation to have those elbows thrown like that on them. Say if you're talking about, say, one of the top fighters in the division. But I thought when she got in that position, there's not many people who can deal with that, in her division. I think she absolutely basically just went to town with those elbows, went, I'm going to drive your face through. I mean, showed real killer instinct, to throw elbows that powerful. Luckily, that Wu actually did cover up. Because if she didn't, if she ain't one of those full-blooded, she'd have been out, with a sliced open face and everything. So they were really, really, I have to say, quite impressive. Rest of the fight wasn't, but when she got that opportunity, brilliant.
I agree. I was also like, well, look, crap woman fight, but I can't deny it. These Pudilova elbows were brilliant. She dealt with it. She went hell for leather. I liked it. The only elbows that I've seen, I tell you what it reminded me of. They ain't exactly the same, but it did bring me back to that fight with John Jones and that massive fella where he got him in a crucifix and just went bang, 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 and done absolutely loads of the fastest elbows I've ever seen. We do know the bloke, but I can't remember his name now. The only elbows that from memory, that I believe I've seen that smashed Pudilovas, this guy that you didn't see. I'm telling you now, mate, they were absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So we had 2 fights there with absolutely brilliant powers, ground and pound elbows. And they were good, yeah. So fair play, Pudilova, dealing with it.
Impressive, yeah. I've just gone on to look at John Jones to see who that was, those elbows.
I don't want to know. I'm going to, you need to.
Well, I'll give you a clue. But I swear the picture, it might be him at a wedding or something like that. But this picture they've used of him on Wikipedia could well be him appearing in court. He's like in a real smart suit. It's like, couldn't they have just had a shot of him fighting rather than picking a crap one where he's, like I say, it might be his wedding for all I know.
Well, there's more shots of him appearing in court than there is fights.
Yeah, but he's brilliant.
I know he is, yeah. Right, let's have a clue on the name. I know the bloke.
Okay, let me just confirm for me. It weren't Chael Sonnen, was it?
No. He was a big Russian-y sort of bloke.
Oh, well. You sure?
Towards the beginning of the UFC career. Maybe 3-4 fights in.
Obviously, the best elbow he threw was against when Matt Hamill beat him.
That was good, and the spinning one against Bonner was wicked.
Was it? I'm just going to the dentist. I'm pretty sure his nickname's the dentist.
Is that his nickname? What Stuart bloke? He ain't.
No.
Jones.
Vladimir Matyushenko.
Matyushenko, that's it. Yeah, that fight.
I said it because you would never have remembered that.
I wouldn't have, right? But you know when Roy Nelson got, I think it might have been Kimbo or whatever on Ultimate Fighter. He got him in the crucifix. He used to get on the crucifix, and it was just those, and he'd done spam punches. You remember? And it was just like, look, I'll do these all day long. You'll have to stop it because no one's moving. Whereas John Jones, when he got in that crucifix, you have to step in. There's, I mean, it was just like a load of little knives going down. It was good. They weren't like these other 2 elbows. They were more short and sharp, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's the thing there. This Pudilova was managing to get, her whole body weight into it because she was in such a dominant position. They were really, really. I mean, I watched them and I was like, they are really good elbows. I mean, that was pretty impressive, I have to say. So
brilliant bit of Pudilova.
Yep.
Next fight. Disappointing. Big disappointment, this fight. All-time best. One of my all-time bests. Not getting in there and smash. But to be fair, Merab, he didn't have a smash either, did he? Aldo versus Merab, the Machine, Dvalishvili. I was expecting a bit more of a smash up here, and that happened. No,
well, I wasn't expecting that. It kind of went how I thought it would go. It kind of went how if you remember, we did a brief chat about it, and I said that I had a feeling it could go this way, where the cardio could prove to be the deciding factor in this fight. Now, someone might say it wasn't, right? It was Merab's pressure, it was his clinch game, stuff like that. But to me, Aldo was fighting within himself a little bit because of the threat of the takedown, and also because, honestly, round 3, he did look drained. He did, but Merab didn't take takedowns amazing. Still fought him off, still couldn't get him down. But no takedowns, Yeah, but it just didn't look like he had enough to put a combination together that would win the fight. And it was really frustrating because I was kind of watching it going, you've got to let your hands go. I think he only ripped to the body once in the whole fight. Yeah, I remember it, yeah. Yeah, and so... Even Merab done a bit of a nod at that punch as well, as if to say, good one. So he threw maybe one or two kicks. That one punch. And when he landed, it looked significant when he landed those kicks. They buckled Merab. He couldn't get enough offense going. It's kind of went how I was worried it would go down. I said to you that I think if you don't knock him out, if it goes to the decision, it's going to be a Merab win because he's just going to. On the flip side, Merab didn't do him either. As in, I know he won, but what I mean is he didn't throw overhand rights and drag him to the floor like we thought might happen either. He didn't take advantage of the rubbish cardio or anything. Well, I didn't expect Merab to actually get him down. I didn't expect him to get him down because Aldo cannot be taken down. He's the machine. He's like, he cannot be. No, well, Aldo is a machine, right? Can't be taken down. You can't get him down, I've seen that. And so I did think there would be a hell of a lot of clinching, which is what happened, right? And it was good about Aldo doing the, when he was kneeing his thigh and stuff like that. And I loved that bit, But then after it sort of, I'd seen about 2, 3, 4 minutes of the clinching and the knees, I kind of went, look, it's all well and good doing, but you have to get busy because those knees are the only thing happening. I know they're not much, I know they're not substantial, but they're the only thing to be judged. They even said that on the commentary, right? They said, I think something like Merab is the only doing things that to be judged. There was no output from Aldo. So he can stand there and go, all he wants, but it's the only thing that's racking up points. You don't get points for going, you know what I mean? So it was frustrating. It was a frustrating fight to watch because Aldo is obviously amazing, but it was just when I saw that fight, even it being announced, I was like, it's a terrible fight for Aldo. That I think Aldo would stand a better chance against Aljamain, for example, than Merab. I just went, it's a bad matchup. A tough guy, good chin, non-stop cardio, pursues the takedowns relentlessly. I was just like, this is not the matchup for Aldo. It's just not. It's just a really bad matchup. And
but didn't after watching it, didn't you think he could have won? I mean, he's definitely good enough. Could have done it.
I think he could have won it. I think he could have won it when I was watching him, and it happened a little bit with the Leon Edwards fight that we're going to come on to. In some of the rounds 2, 3, and 4, when he was standing in front of me, I was saying, throw something. I'm not saying overcommit to shots. I'm not saying throw a 4-punch combo. Whack out a jab. He's got a good jab, Aldo. Throw a jab. Give the guy something to at least deal with. But he wasn't. He was kind of just doing his, like this over and over again. I was like, get that jab going. Okay, he might shoot under it. But you're kind of expecting that. And Aldo's got such amazing timing that if he did do something, like there was once where he almost landed a knee, right? Where I think Merab went in.
Actually, a couple of knees were good, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, so at least if you're throwing a jab, you're giving him something to respond to. He might shoot in underneath, and there might be an opportunity for a knee to land. Even if he takes you down and he puts you on your back, you're amazing at getting back up. But even if you end up on your back, you end up on your back. But you ain't going to win this fight if you just walk forward doing, looking like Sagat from Street Fighter.
Yeah, I did like that Thai boxing stance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so did I. Yeah, I mean, it looked great, but not for 15 minutes. It was a frustrating one. I mean, it looked like when the decision was read out that Aldo thought he might have got that, done enough to win, which he didn't. He simply didn't. I wish he did, but he didn't. I wish I could sit here and go, no, Aldo won that fight really, but the scoring criteria don't favour him. Something he didn't. He didn't do it. Didn't do enough. Didn't do anything, probably.
No. 2 knees, 1 body shot, maybe 1 or 2 leg kicks. I can't think of anything.
You can't win a fight for that. Even if that's all that landed on the feet and the rest was just knees up against the cage, I'd still go, well, Merab has to win it for cage control for like 13 minutes and landed all those knees, even though they're pathetic and not going to do any damage. They do hurt when you dig a kneecap into a thigh, but
100%, yeah.
But these are strong guys. Yeah, they can handle it. So, but yeah, really frustrating fight to watch is the truth. But
it was, yeah. But
I knew it was
something to score, and as you say, there was nothing to score. So from Merab, you got to give someone a reason to win, ain't you? And he did more. So what do you want to do? I mean, it wasn't very good. I don't know why. I'd have to ask Aldo, but I'll ask him tomorrow when I see him.
All
right. Right, next one. I mean, all I'm going to say...
Shit fight.
Oh, right. Is that sarcasm or real?
No, it's sarcasm. I love this fight. I know you're going to go, I hated it. It's like, so you like Luis Saldana, but you hated this fight. What are you talking about? This fight was amazing. I loved it.
Rubbish fight, right?
I loved it.
Look at the top here.
All the way through. Brilliant.
Fight of the night, right?
100%.
Terrible fight. I have no idea why anybody liked this fight. I do know why some people liked it, don't get me wrong. But I was watching this going, God, this fight is crap. Neither of them look like they know how to fight. Neither of them have any breath to speak of. 0 cardio from both blokes, which means their skills were terrible. Honestly, I really hated this fight. I was like, this fight is crap. I don't know what going on about. This is the best fight. And then when I saw it was fight of the night, I'm like, what's happening here? This was crap. You got a bloke with his hand on his knees after 2 seconds. Crap. And then you got a bloke with his hands on his knees, right? So you got Rockhold literally going, I can't fight anymore. And Paulo Costa going, well, so what? Don't worry about it. He did nothing about it. Punch him in the face, kick him in the face, do something. He did nothing. Rubbish fight. This was such a rubbish fight. Useless, both of them. I tell you what, don't know what's going on with Costa. I like that bloke a
But
lot.
they're not useless, right? Let's just be clear. We actually think both these guys are wicked. Right?
Skills
Amazing.
are both amazing, and I didn't see any of their skills because neither of them could breathe properly. Rubbish.
Right, but
now there was all the chat about the Salt Lake
exactly.
City stuff and the
Right,
attitude.
exactly. Yeah.
This is a bad qual performance by these blokes, in my opinion, because you literally had a bloke who was a punch bag, and the other bloke going, "Yeah, but I can't punch or kick either, so I'm not going to do nothing about it."
But,
I didn't like it.
If you think about this fight card, right, you would go Loosa or Ange Loosa versus Fletcher, or Fletcher gassed out, right? Bad.
Now I tell you what. Hold on, right? Because you didn't see all of them, right? Hang on. I'll tell you what. We'll do this version for you, right? Hang on. Here we go. Right.
Both of these guys struggled cardio-wise. I mean, Fletcher was basically dead in round 3. Next. Well, I mean, Woodson seemed to have no punch resistance, and honestly, Saldana after round 1,
no breath,
no damage. Yeah, he had no. That's the only reason he didn't win that fight, because he ran out of cardio. Next. Well, Santos has always got bad breath, but he had really bad breath. Right, next.
Heavyweight.
Right, yeah. Both crap anyway, breath-wise, probably, because they're heavyweight. But, yeah, they both struggled as well, right? Next.
But particularly Romanov.
Yeah, I thought Tybura done all right.
Considering you had a bloke laying on him, yeah.
I thought he recovered well after round 1, but still not the most active. Next. Only lasted 3 seconds. Next. Okay, I think they seem to handle it okay.
Yeah, I saw no effect on these two.
Yeah, these two seem to be all right. Next, so women are brilliant.
No breath, both of them.
Well, Aldo, we kind of expect Aldo to have no breath, so next. Only in round 3 as well, but next. And then obviously these two, no breath.
The worst.
So let's be fair, and these are not guys. Rockhold is always in amazing shape. Rockhold has got cardio. He has done, championship fights and stuff like that, right? Costa, if you think of the fights against stuff like Romero, he's got like amazing work rate in the cage, right? He's not someone who steals breaks, who pins people up against the fence and just does knees to the thigh. He ain't that guy. He is a battering ram. And he struggled, right? So
I know.
What I'm saying is I'm going to cut these guys some slack, because I do think that altitude stuff is, they said on the broadcast, right? Cormier said, Kane, cardio for days, fought Fabrizio for doing altitude, and just was gone after 1 round, right? If your body ain't used to it, I can totally understand why you basically just get smashed. Now they said, I can't remember, they said someone arrived a week beforehand to acclimatise. I think it was Leon Edwards, a week or 2 beforehand. To me, I went, 2 weeks. I went, that's not long enough. He should have done his whole training camp there, in my opinion. Might not be able to afford it. I'm just saying, perfect preparation would be to do your whole training camp there. Because imagine you go there for 2 weeks before, and you train there after about 4 days. You're going, bloody hell, I can only eat pads for 3 rounds, and I'm effed. How is that not going to affect your psychology going into the fight? At least if you go 3 months in advance, you might go, bloody hell, man, this is really hard. After 2 rounds, I'm effed. And then you can at least try and rectify that over the next month or 2. So I think going 2 weeks beforehand, it wasn't good preparation, but that's for the main event. These guys don't usually have problems with cardio. They did this time. I'm going to put that down to, in Rockhold's case, age, inactivity, injuries, and altitude. For Costa, I'll give him an excuse that he's probably down in a bottle of wine the night beforehand. And looking at how, in what amazing condition he's in, he was probably having a threesome or something like that as well, right? So
he did look, he looked good.
He looks amazing, right? So, but I love this fight because a few things. I thought the story was brilliant. By the end, it made me go, oh man, Rockhold, I really liked him. I liked he couldn't speak again, by the way. They said, one of the best post-fight speeches. And I was like, it weren't. He didn't even finish a sentence again. He couldn't even finish a sentence. Has that guy ever finished a sentence? But I liked the sincerity of it. I liked how upset he was to be leaving the sport behind. He looked genuinely like, mortified that part of his life was over.
I like that bit.
Yeah, the crowd, gave him a wicked cheer out. And let's be honest, he's not been the most popular, fan-friendly fighter in the sport. Not his actual fights. His fights are always wicked, but personality-wise, he's not really been a popular fighter with fans. But everybody cheered him. I think that fight was the perfect. Outside of him, I actually think that fight was, the way it went was a better fight for him to go out on than if he'd have just say head kick KO'd Costa in the first round, because it kind of shows
because it's memorable,
his character, all that sort of stuff. So it was it was like a perfect send off for him. I kind of like the fact that he had that little moment of defiance at the end, even though he got battered and proper battered. I mean, he looked like a granddad. You know, he's like a model, but after about 3 minutes, he looked like a granddad, like all like this throughout the whole fight. But for the last 20 seconds, he had that moment of defiance where he wiped his face, you know, blood all over Costa's face. There's the wicked bit where he says something like, you know, F you to Costa.
And then threw a punch.
Right hand. Caught him. I was just like, you know, this fight has got, is it technically brilliant? No, of course not. Those guys were shattered. And I was looking at it, the way Rockhold was, as you say, he was gone after about 3 minutes, right? And he was circling off to his left the whole time. And not once did Costa throw a right hook for Rockhold to go into. Not once. He just let him circle out each time. And I was like, what? And I was watching it going, you do know that you could get done by Rockhold. Rockhold was still landing good strikes. And so for me, the fight was still exciting. I was like watching it in round 3 going, Rockhold could still turn this round. He could still land.
Yeah, with one punch every, one punch around.
They were landing, and a few of them seemed to do a little bit, you know, I mean, Costa, I think, has got a great chin, but a few of those punches kind of rocked him. And I just thought that at the end, I thought it was just perfect that the young Lions still won, but the old guy still got an amazing send-off. If you like, to me, that was a little bit of a, you know, like when Chuck Liddell started losing, that I became a bigger fan of him. And for me, that was a little bit like the Rockhold thing, this adversity, coming through that adversity, the bit at the end, the defiance, the FU. I just went, brilliant. Rockhold's brilliant. And I didn't think that going into the fight.
I was going to say, we liked him anyway when it came to fight.
But not this much.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I just thought it was a terrible performance.
But you're looking at it, right, just from a, like, I'm going to watch this as a, if you like, a MMA purist or enthusiast and look at it and go, I mean, some of his kicks were wicked, right? Rockhold's got wicked kicks, but, you know, you're looking at it from a point of view of like, oh, why don't these guys have better cardio and stuff like that? But if you remove all that, but if you remove all that and you just look at kind of like, almost like, I know I hate this when people like Helwani say it, but the storyline of it. I was just
it's fine to have a story.
And I don't know if you've seen it. There's a clip where Rockhold comes out the cage and Cormier goes over and gives him a hug.
Not seen it.
Okay, right. Well, he goes, walks off after Rockhold, and he kind of like grabs him on the shoulder. And Rockhold don't know who it is, and he turns around, and when he sees it's Cormier, he does like his face like twists into absolute pain and anguish, because, you know, like he kind of looks at him and Cormier gives him a kiss and he gives Cormier a kiss back, but his face is all twisted because he knows it's over for me as well now. It's over for me. You know, you're finished, you're retired, you're doing commentary. It's over for me now. And I just, for a guy who was bashing the UFC, I mean, even he was bashing the UFC before the fight, but then even at the end he went, thanks Dana. I think, did he say Dana White? But he definitely said thanks UFC. I just thought, you know what, brilliant. It just made me do a bit of I always liked Rockhold, not the chat, but the fights. And it just made me go, maybe I quite like the bloke and all. Even though I know this is just, you know, the best.
It was my favourite bloke, Rockhold. The blood's in the face. I like the bit at the end where he just went, like you say, he couldn't finish the sentence and he just went, I'm old. You know, it's like, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
all that I liked, but the fight, I just went, this is crap. If you've got no breath, what's his name? Paulo Costa got no breath, and why couldn't he fight either? He was crap and all. This isn't a me smashing in Rockhold, it's me smashing in the fight, going, what is this fight? I just went, what is this? You know, yeah, it was entertaining in its own way, but there was such lack of anything. I remember Rockhold threw about 3 or 4 body kicks in a row, and I went, brilliant, you know, and Costa's like, yeah, so what? He's like, I'll have another one then. He's like, yeah, what about another one and another one? He had some moments where I went, yeah, brilliant, but they were so few and far between, and I just don't understand why a bloke can put his hands on his knees and the other bloke go, well, I can't even make it over to you. Forget it, can't be bothered. And to me, it's like, that's just made me go, what's happened to these blokes? Because I saw they're both really good fighters, and I just saw no skills. I just saw 2 blokes going, I can't handle this. And I understand with Rockhold because he is old and injured and smashed in and all that. And I did love that chat where he was just saying things, can't handle it, can't do it no more. I'm old. It's like, this is brilliant. He can barely, he can't chat about it. He can't express himself. Are you okay to talk? Yes.
Yeah,
I ain't, but I'll have a chat then,
I love that. It's like, are you okay to talk? And even before he answered, I went, Rockhold, of course he's not. He can't.
He doesn't do chats.
He can't finish a sentence. And then obviously he went, yeah. And then they went over and they asked him a question. He said something and then he just went, F. He said the F word, didn't he? I was just like, say he's not all right to talk then. like say he was like this.
Yeah.
Up against the cage. I was like, he ain't all right to talk. I'm glad they did talk to him because
it's brilliant.
I even actually sent that clip of him rubbing the blood in that guy's face and the interview. I sent it to someone who's not even into MMA, and I actually sent it to him and said, this is why I love this sport. Now I know that might seem weird to some people, like, well, you like seeing people rub blood in other people's faces. It's like, it's not. For me, it was the whole story of that fight. And for Rockhold, it was almost like that was his Rocky moment. He couldn't have wrote it better for him. I think it was, like I say, to me, it was better than a win. It was better than if he just went out there and booted his head off in 10 seconds. It showed his, I think it endeared people to him. It showed his character, everything. Look, I know you hated it. I won't go on about it because I've already gone on about it for ages. I loved it.
Yeah.
I can't believe earlier you're going, Saldana, fantastic.
Brilliant.
You get this right, F you, bang, and all that, and you're going, crap. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Not. So much more happened in the Saldanas, right? But not all the Saldana was good. And don't forget, you didn't have anybody saying that it's the best fight ever and it's fight of the night. You didn't have anyone doing that. And that added to it for me because I'm listening to this commentary. I've seen loads of the stuff afterwards and I'm going, what's happening? Even at the time I was watching this fight going, this fight's crap. So, and I don't disagree with anything you've said, but I still thought it was a crap fight. I was sitting there really confused going, this is crap. Yeah, it's endearing. Yes, I like to see people that go through, fight through the fire and show their determination, their courage, their grit. They both had that, but I have no idea why they needed it because the adversary on the other side of them was doing nothing. So you're fighting through what? Someone throwing nothing at you. You're fighting through what? A bloke with his hands on his knees. You're not fighting through nothing. Beat him up then. It's like, well, I can't because I'm fighting through adversity. Why? Did Rockhold beat you up? No. I just can't breathe properly or I can't walk or I can't throw punches and kicks. And it's Rockhold. He's like, hands on his knees. Like, what's happened then? Has he been wrestling you? Has he been grappling you? Has he been hitting you? No, he's not hit me at all. So what you got your hands on your knees for? That's why I didn't like it.
To be fair, Costa, I thought it was a surprising decision to follow Rockhold down to the mat early on. And I thought he was brilliant on the mat, Costa. Really held his own, done a lot of damage. Now, the rest of Costa's game, I think, seems to have suffered the last few fights. I remember, when we were really high on him and really excited about him, he used to be like a juggernaut, right? He used to go in there, pin people against the fence and just go and just smash them. Whereas he seems to have lost that now. He seems to be walking into people with his hands by his hips. I don't know why. I don't know why he thinks that's a good idea now. Walking in with his hands by his hips. And he just doesn't seem to have that lethal, booming punch power that he had.
Yeah, he was going to do like you say, all the swing.
And he just don't seem to have that, anymore for some reason. I don't know if he's sort of just changed his style or what, but if he has, I think it's for the worse. But I do think he done good when he went to the ground. Considering Rockhold is a bit of a, an elite sort of fighter on the mat. So I thought Costa done good first round, but then it did turn a bit sloppy for the last two rounds. But to me, it was sloppy in a good way.
All right, okay.
Sloppy in a good way. So I loved it. Brilliant Rockhold. Costa as well was brilliant. I thought when the final bell went, I thought there might be a bit of afters or a bit of bad blood, and there wasn't. They were kind of all right and respectful of each other, but not being over the top. Like Aldo and Merab were down. That we've got to talk about that. What about that brilliant bit of Joe Rogan where they're sharing a private moment? Rogan just slips the microphone up in between. Yeah, how rude is that? That's so rude.
It was crap, but then they went, well, we ain't doing chats now. We've done our chats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Didn't give him nothing, did they?
Yeah.
Quite good.
But, they did. Rockhold and Costa didn't go that far. They didn't sort of go, okay, well, now we're best buddies. you know, because there was a bit of needle beforehand, but they'd done enough to be respectful and good to each other. And I just, you know, I really did enjoy it. Loved it.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying it. You know, I was a little confused, but I do still get why people. I did say I get why people like it. It's the same as there'll be fights that I really like that people will go, "What crap!" Like Travis Brown and Verdum. You know, I love that fight, right? I bet you it ain't a fight that a lot of people remember or like.
Well, how about your all-time favourite, Anderson Silva, Damian Maia? Everyone hates that fight, but it's one of your favourites ever.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Talk about nothing happening, and then your favourite fight is
good. No, but that wasn't nothing happening because Anderson Silva, you know, didn't have the energy to throw stuff. Mentally, he might not have had the energy to throw stuff. Anyway, we don't want to chat about that fight, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's understandable that people have different opinions. It's just that seemed to be a widely, everyone loved it. But I was sitting there going, what's happened? And I thought, well, he won't like it. When I chat to him, he'll go, cool, yeah, I don't understand it. It was crap. And that's why I thought, I've got to check. Is that sarcasm? He was like, no, I loved it. I was like, oh, no, another one. Another one. Yeah, but listen, fair enough. But when it was fight of the night, I was thinking, fight of the night is crap.
No,
terrible.
It's one
Zero
of
skills.
I would genuinely go.
Cup fight. And there is someone. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say that. I can't believe I'm going to say it, but now I've remembered. I'm going to have to say it. Jake Paul. He agrees with me. He said it was crap.
Oh,
right?
Well, you're in bad company then.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. He went. Finally, though, I had someone where I went, right. Someone said it's crap. You know, he'll have his reasons, right? But he said it's crap because it was a glorified street fight. And I thought, oh, look, I don't want to be agreeing with that bloke. But, yeah, it weren't very good.
But so what? Sometimes that sport does descend into that, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Normally a street fight as striking, as action. There's no action.
Well, anyway, we'll have to agree to disagree. I loved it. You can.
There weren't a fight.
You can do the podcast. Do the podcast with Jake Paul in future. I'll get a lot more views.
Maybe you can do a podcast with me. How about that way round?
No,
right. There was no fight. There wasn't a fight. Crap.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that it's a fight that I would say to people, go back and rewatch, you know, this display of mixed martial arts brilliance, right? It's not one of those. But honestly, I'd say it's one of my favourite kind of UFC moments. You know, when people do those sort of top 10 lists of, you know, favourite UFC moments, might be, you know, when Frank Mir broke Nogueira's arm or whatever, you know, all these different things, or I can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head, but that will be one of them. It's just like I really enjoyed it. I don't, you know, I'm not.
Well, that's good.
About it too much.
That's the main thing. You really enjoyed it. That's good, right? That's a good thing. It got fight of the night and everything. It's good. Loads of people really enjoyed it. I'm not even saying I was annoyed. I was just watching it, going, "What is this crap fight?" But a fight where I would say, you know, it became a little bit street fighty, but still had martial arts skill in it and had weird moments was Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler, you know, they're facing each other, spitting the bloods down and all that. To me, that was good because it's still, it had the, and the other one, is it Robbie? What's the other one with Carlos Condit? Is that another Robbie Lawler or is that McDonald? Both hanging off the cage at the end.
Robbie Lawler as well when it got into the last round. And
right, those fights to me, they still have the skill, they still had to go for adversity and blah, 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 but there was a lot more happening, you know. This nothing was happening. Anyway, we'll move on because even though it got fight tonight, we'll go next fight. This is the main event. It's got performance of the night. You can see that there. Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. I mean, this...
Listen, you don't mess with the UK. You mess with the UK, you get lit up. That's it. So anybody out there that wants it can come get it. You know, we're all like that over here. Anyone that wants a boot, a shin in the head can get it. All right?
After getting beaten up for the rest of the show.
See, yeah, I mean, well, I'll let you talk about it, this fight first, I think.
Look.
Let me just say, one, I'm really happy that Leon Edwards won. I wanted Leon Edwards to win, mainly because he's from the UK. Two, I prefer his fighting style.
So do I, yeah.
Three, I think injects a bit of intrigue into the welterweight division, which was honestly becoming stale. Outside of sort of Kamaru, there's not really much that you would say was knocking on the door for Usman. So it's kind of given that division a bit more intrigue now. I fully expect there to be a rematch. If there is a rematch, I do expect Usman to win based on what I saw from their first fight. The second fight,
yeah.
I do expect. I think Edwards hit lightning in a bottle. I thought Leon Edwards was good. Round one, that brilliant takedown. First guy to take Usman down. I said I'll let you talk about the fight, and that's it.
No, it's fine. Go.
I thought he got that takedown. It wasn't just a takedown where he got him down and held him down for a few seconds. He got full mount and everything. I mean, it was brilliant from Edwards, especially when we had a discussion before the fight about, is he going to be able to close the gap on that grappling aspect? Now, it just turns out that for the rest of the fight, he didn't, right? He ended up getting... Now, again, I'm not going to say it was a grappling deficit as such. I'm going to say it's a cardio deficit. I just think he started to lose the power to fight off the takedowns.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Well, he still had to work hard for him, though, right, Usman? And Edwards, to his credit, still continued to get up from him. I don't think he spent full rounds on his back, doing nothing. So he was trying to get back to his feet, but from what I saw, it's one of those things where it's like, I think in the future there's going to come a time where Edwards goes, damn it, I wish I never won that fight, because he's going to be sitting in the stall between rounds 4 and 5 with Usman over the other side of the cage, going, I've got another round against this guy, and he's just been grappling me all night. And if I just lost that fight, I wouldn't have to deal with this right now. So I just think that they're going to have a rematch, which is annoying for me.
Makes sense, though, one-on-one.
I totally
long reigning champ.
Yeah, Usman, long reigning. It's got all the ingredients for him to have a rematch, right? Long reigning champ. Sometimes a long reigning champ, that's enough of an ingredient to get a rematch, even if they get dominated, right? But he's a long reigning champ who's winning the fight clearly, who's a minute away from retaining his belt. And so they really don't need any more ingredients than that. He will be getting a rematch, guaranteed, outside of having any injuries or anything like that. He'll be getting a rematch. And unless Leon Edwards can find lightning in a bottle again, I just think he's going to get wrestled for 5 rounds. Unfortunately.
Well, maybe, but you've seen the first fight, and you said he did well in that. They won't do it in Salt Lake City. They might do it in England. Wembley is the chat, O2 or Wembley, that kind of chat.
Yeah.
So he ain't going to, if there was an issue with cardio. Look, Edwards did say that he didn't feel right. He didn't say that he had no cardio. He said his body wasn't reacting and moving like he expected it to as it was in training. Said, I felt crap, and that's fair enough. Usman had the same things to deal with as he did, right? And there's no doubt that Usman was winning that fight. And there's no doubt that if you want to say the word broken and all that, I think they might have said it in the commentary thing, Leon Edwards looked broken, if you want to call it that. I preferred the way his corner put it when they said to him, stop feeling sorry for yourself. That comment, I just thought, that's perfect. It's a John Maguire when you said, if you can't be bothered, I can't be bothered. And that's what the corner was saying. Listen, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You're in the fight. It ain't over. Can you just go out and fight? Do something. Otherwise, you will at the end of it go, oh, what? I had an opportunity there and I threw it away or whatever. The corner, I do think was good. I like the chats they were doing. They were more just motivating their fighter, going, look, we know you can do this. We know you've got all the skills. Why aren't you doing nothing? You know what I mean? What's happening here? So the lightning in a bottle, yeah, it's fair enough. Only takes one shot and all that. It wasn't like Gilbert Burns, who rocked Usman a couple of times, and then you think, well, it's all adding up this. Only a couple more, and he'll do him, right? I don't remember, and you'll have to correct me if you think otherwise, I don't remember Leon Edwards doing anything to Usman that hurt him made him step back. I don't remember anything making Usman
And
go.
he got the full mount, right? But he didn't even
Yes.
then. He didn't do Pudilova elbows or anything like that.
Right, no damage, right? No damage. So, and maybe it was Usman's downfall. I don't have to fear this bloke. There's nothing to fear. Although I don't actually think he did anything wrong. People can give it all the chat of one mistake or whatever. I don't see no mistake, right? There's no mistake.
If you take any 3 seconds of fighting and isolate it out of a fight and cross and microanalyze it, you'll find a mistake everywhere you go. Well, you could have got knocked out of a right hand there.
Oh, yeah. Didn't put your hand back to your face.
Just, you know, there's a counter for every counter, all these kind of things. It doesn't matter what you do. There is always going to be a time where somebody has your, you know, if you go out, if you spend long enough in that cage, you're going to get pinged sooner or later. Someone's going to catch you sweet and perfect and knock you out. And
there's proof of it, right? It was one. That's what I'm saying. It was one shot. He won the fight on one. Points aside, because it didn't go to points, right? Score aside, and we know he would have lost it score-wise. It can only take one shot. Sometimes from a punch, more likely from a kick, right? And that's what Usman ain't no weed chin bloke. I mean, he's a pretty solid pounders bloke, and there it was one shot. Now, what I will say about that kick, let's not worry about the combination of the kick and how it came out and it was hidden and stuff yet. But what I will say particularly about that kick and why I noticed after looking at it, watching it, why that was so effective, right? Because it weren't like Usman was tired and, like I say, he had an accumulation of strikes that made him weak or whatever, anything like that, right? That kick was the sort of kick you want to throw in training that you barely do. Because when you're in training, you're getting excited, you're hitting pads and you're having fun, etc., and you find that you're not really relaxing, or you're hitting too hard, or you're trying too hard, and and that means you're losing all your form and all your technique. It's like, well, slow it down a bit, and concentrate on what you're doing a bit. Your footwork after you've thrown the punch or the kick, then add the speed, add the power in. That kick was like a Frank Mir walkout. It was so natural. It was so smooth. And if you notice, zero grit teeth. He was totally relaxed. And that is why that kick went through that bloke. It went through him and took him out. It was so relaxed, It wasn't...
Obviously, it didn't help that Usman was going into the shot as well.
Of course. But if I just take the form of the kick, as far as I'm concerned, it's especially as it's in a fight, right? In a fight. It's a real perfect kick. I mean, it was a really, really good kick. He did nothing wrong. His range was right. The setup was right. He hit it or whatever. And like I said, he had no gritting, all totally relaxed. He swung it in. His hip snapped at the last minute. It was he drills it. That's the Bruce Lee version. Fear the bloke who practices the same kick, whatever, 10,000 times or whatever. That was really, really good. Now, Usman.
I was worried that he didn't follow up. Obviously, Usman was out cold and stuff like that. But when he hit the mat, there was a split second where I thought, well, he's not finished. But it seemed like Edwards had done a bit of a Saldana. Kind of like it just walked off. It was a walk-off KO in the end. But I did kind of like go, why aren't you following him down? That's good. This is your only chance right now. And there was a split second where I thought,
very confident.
It just so happened that it's almost like Usman, rather than fall into the floor, and some fights it wakes them up and they kind of hit the floor and then they sort of spring back to life, like the Undertaker. He's kind of hitting the floor, turned him into a block of wood. He hit the floor and then went, like stiff after. So I guess he was. I'm not going to say lucky, but there was a part of me where I went, it's not over, and then. Obviously, it was over when he actually hit the mat. But I was a bit worried.
A lot of people would have just gone, and
and I'm glad he didn't, right? Because I don't want to see Usman taking unnecessary punches and stuff like that. But just from me watching it and wanting Leon to win, I kind of went, he ain't done yet, because you don't really know the full impact of that strike, right? I mean, maybe Edwards would say, well, I did. I knew it landed perfect. I knew it landed flush. I knew it was over. But he can say that now. But like I say, there's been loads of times where people have been pinged, gone down to the floor, and then, just come back alive immediately. And so I can't lie that there was a split second where I was a little bit worried. Yeah, that maybe.
And it is weird that he didn't, simply because if he did get back up, he still would have lost the fight.
Yeah, of course he would have. Yeah, 48-47.
Right, that one knockdown wouldn't have mean he won. He was still lost.
He'd have got that round, got round one instead of in 48-47.
Right. So if he did get up, wake up, at least get back to his feet and last rest of that fight, he would have lost. So it seemed risky, right? But don't forget, he's right there. He's looking, you know. But even so, it's not his, as they say, not his job to stop it and walk off. So it seemed a bit risky. Yeah. Whether he knew or not doesn't matter, right? It's about the ref going, it's over, not you saying it's over, which is what you've said before on one of the fights we were discussing the other day. But now, whether, you know, like I said before, with that kick with what's his name, Buckley, whacking Buckley. You know, he did that thing with Sangane. Yeah, there's lots of things in there, like you say. Afterwards, you can analyze it and go, well, if he did, the reason he got done by that is because, and it's all true. There was obviously ways to avoid it. And I have to say, this Usman one was interesting because, you know, and talk through it with me. I don't think he did anything wrong because he slipped a punch on the outside, correct or not?
Well, this is
he didn't slip on the inside. So the dangerous thing you're taught is a dangerous thing is you can slip. Let's say a punch is coming here. You can slip and dodge and go on the inside, right? And if you're fast enough and you win, you still won. But it's the dangerous version, and the one you get told to. Well, you know, the rules are you would slip as he did this way, right? Right. It just so happens there was a leg coming here. So technically, I actually quite liked his reaction. Now, or what he did to that strike. Now, I do have what I think is the reason it went wrong. There's two reasons. One, he didn't know there was a kick coming. So even if he did the right thing, doesn't matter. There was something following straight afterwards. And he didn't get his hand back or move back out of the way in time. But there was nothing wrong from what I could see. You know, Usman, to me, he did what Hoof had taught him. That's what it looked like to me. It actually, if anything, looked like an experienced fighter, even though he ended up knocked out from it, right? A punch came. Admittedly, he's I believe they're in opposite stances. Does make a difference because obviously sometimes you will react a certain way to jabs and crosses, and it'll be different because the cross is coming from a different side, right? Even so, he still went to the outside. The only thing I really thought when I looked at it afterwards or whatever is that he slipped a punch and he parried and slipped a punch that had he not done anything wouldn't have touched him. So he moved into what he didn't know was coming, that kick. Had he had not parried and slipped that punch, and he wouldn't have had to block it because it wasn't going to connect, then he would have been able to block that kick because he would have seen it coming and he would have just put his hand up or step back or whatever, or step to one side. It's because he did a good reaction that he ended up getting done because he didn't know something was coming after it. Because to me, he slipped to the outside, and ain't that what you're supposed to do? Didn't he do the right thing, essentially? You know, now he did. Now, look, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between a slip and just a straight parry, isn't there? You know, to slip like that and parry, or to just parry, they are different things. But, you know, I just thought he overslipped, obviously, because I said that punch weren't really a danger. But if you look at it from Edwards' point of view, it was never meant to be. Never meant to.
I don't really
he's a righty, right? So that was his jab. He put that about halfway. Then he threw the cross, and then the same side, a kick came up. So I don't know. What do you think of all that?
I mean,
it's bloody interesting.
I was watching it, and to me, Edwards threw a couple of southpaw jabs. You know, he's pumping out his lead hand. He kind of faked with that kick just before the knockout. He faked.
I saw his hips go.
Yeah, he twisted his hips a bit. And to me, this is why I disagreed with the commentary. But obviously, I don't really know what I'm talking. I know nothing when it comes to stuff like kicking, like nothing at all. So just from my ignorant viewpoint, I looked in. He was kind of pumping out his right lead hand, right? And to me, he threw a right lead hand, and this is what led to the knockout. They kept talking about the left hand afterwards, right? And that was, you know, the one you're saying that wouldn't have connected anyway.
The cross.
And you're saying that Usman was going to the outside of that cross. Yeah. The reason why I looked in and I disagreed with that is because he was pumping out that lead hand, and Usman was moving this way. He wasn't moving to the
Should have
outside.
moved this way.
Yeah,
you should have moved this way, right?
Yeah, he was moving that way. So he was throwing out that right hand. Now, to me, this left hand was just used as a counterbalance for his kick, for his left kick. It wasn't really a strike. He didn't throw it with any. He didn't throw that left hand with any intent of landing or throwing at his face. To me, he was throwing this right hand. He got Usman to move to Usman's right. So Usman moved into his kick. So he was pumping out that right hand. And then he kind of put out the left hand as a counterbalance to bang, throw that left kick at the same time. He kind of threw it at the same time as that left hand came out.
Okay.
And because Usman saw that left hand come out, if you like, the balancing hand, he kind of reached for that hand. You see him kind of go and parry that hand, and that left the room for the kick to land. But to me, that wasn't a punch. That's what Rogan kept saying, is that the left hand was a punch, and basically he distracted him with that.
Yeah, okay.
But I personally don't think that left hand was a punch. I think it was more a balance for the kick. The right hand is what was shifted Usman into that kick. That he kind of, like I say, was feinting with that right hand and forced Usman to his right hand side into the kick.
Okay, right. So
that's what I saw, but I don't know anything about kicking, right?
Yeah, okay, right. So normally the counterbalance to a kick, there's obviously loads of schools of thought to it, is that the kick goes out and your same side hand goes back to counterbalance because you've got a limb this way and a limb that way. There are schools of thought that will say you put, like what he did, that you put your hand out at the same time, because if you don't and you do a classic, say, taekwondo counterbalance and you swing your arm back to counterbalance, you're now open, right? And you're going to get potentially hit. And the way to avoid that and not to get hit is to shoulder roll the kick, so you're out of range of any counter punch, right? It's obviously easy all in training, and as we always say, it's easier said than done. So I do think it was real. Now, there's a couple of reasons I think that was a punch. Is because he said it himself. Maybe he's saying it after the effect, but he says,
said it, I'm going to take his word for it over mine. So
it's not about the word, though, is it? Because you're only going off of what you're seeing, and he can now, of course, say, well, yeah, I drill that all the time, and it's this move. What he's saying is it's a cross head kick combo, right? And I do believe him. And another thing he said, which alludes to that he's chatting openly about it, right? Because it's, I wouldn't say, I necessarily wouldn't reveal these techniques, but they do. He said he tried it with Bilal Muhammad, but unfortunately his fingers got him in the face. He said, but it's the same move that I did there, but this time my fingers were open and I scratched his eyes out before finishing. He said, but I tried exactly the same thing with him. That don't mean that what you're saying about because he's southpaw jabs that he was trying to make him move. And I do agree that possibly that Usman, because he is orthodox, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I thought they were opposite stances. Yeah, that he would react differently to.
Well, Leon was switching a fair bit in the fight, right?
Yeah,
a fair bit.
But at that point, I remember.
If you want to take it from the real basic viewpoint, right? As they always say, you have the battle for foot position. If you have a southpaw and an orthodox, you're supposed to be trying to get your foot to the outside of the opponent's lead foot. Well, Usman was going the wrong way for that. So if Usman wanted his lead foot outside, that's obviously to clear the pathway for your backhand, right? But Usman, when that combination landed, he was going the wrong way. He was moving his feet inside Leon Edwards' foot. Right? He was moving to the right. He was moving to Leon Edwards' power hand. Well, it just happened to be his power leg.
But
right?
to the outside of the power hand.
He should have been going the other way. But again, it's one of these things that you can microanalyze any split second of a fight and go, well, you shouldn't be doing that. So
yeah, of course, yeah, and this is in the moment, right? But to me, as far as I'm aware, most of the time I'd be told to go to the outside of the hand, power or not. So to me, he did go the right way, because why would he have gone on the inside of that? Isn't that more dangerous to be on the inside?
So if Edwards is fighting in a southpaw position, a southpaw fighter, not always, because some fighters work right. I won't go into that, but so his jab is let's just say he's weaker strike, right? It doesn't contain as much power. His jab is the right hand. So in order to avoid his power hand, which is his backhand, you want to constantly be moving this way. You want to be moving to his outside of his lead foot. When he got knocked out, he wasn't. He was moving into the power
Yeah,
side,
okay.
the left hand and the left leg. So if you want to look at it from that point of view, you can go, well, he should have been moving to the outside anyway. That's why I'm saying that to me, it was the fake jabs that forced Usman to, rather than go the way he should have been going, it forced him to go the opposite way into the power shot.
But there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Saying.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with saying that because the actual full combo is jab, cross, rear kick. There is a jab first. As you saw, he just barely put it out there, right? But this is the one that hides, that that covers up the kick is coming or whatever, right? And like you say, most people don't have that in the way when a kick is coming. Whitaker's another one who's really good at that move, by the way, and can do it way speeds. He's brilliant at it because they've already used it to counterbalance and thrown it back, which means you clearly see that line of sight. But it was covered up with a fist. But what I'm saying is, if it's just normal orthodox to orthodox, so left lead to left lead, you would catch a jab and let's just say, for example, parry a cross. And when you parried a cross, I'm on the outside of the cross, right? As a standard thing. So I'm saying he still went to the outside of a cross because Leon Edwards dropped
saying yeah, if that was a backhand from Leon Edwards, then yeah, he outside slipped it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only asking.
Obviously, he just went into a leg that he probably didn't expect to be following straight after.
It seems to me that he was good. I actually kind of rated Usman and went, wicked, man. You parried it and you slipped it. I actually quite liked it. Ended up with a kick in his head, but I actually thought it made me think he was good and trained. I know he is trained, but you know what I mean? We sometimes say he's a bit run-of-the-mill, he wrestles, he strikes, and we said he's done wicked improvements. But to me, it actually showed that he was good, very reactive to those punches. It just turns out that the leg is longer than the hand, etc., and that wouldn't have hit him, that hand. If he didn't react to that hand, that wouldn't have hit him, he wouldn't have got done. But he never knew a kick was coming. This is, like you say, I hate chatting about this stuff. I kind of like you didn't really want to chat about it.
I didn't really want to. Yeah, same here, because it's like you're microanalyzing someone who's a billion times better at something than you. And going, the mistake you made is...
We're not, but
it's not a mistake, because obviously it is a mistake because it ended up getting his head booted off for it, right? But he's probably done that a billion times before with no problem. And it's not like something that they can go, if they go back into the gym, there's still going to be times where he does something like that. And there are times where, he will do something like that and it will be rewarded. He'll do that and he'll end up, I don't know, circling off the cage and everyone will go, oh, look at the footwork of Usman. Look at the evasive head work of Usman. Isn't he brilliant? It just so happened this time there was a shin waiting for him around the corner.
Yeah, it was good.
And honestly, it's that, just to coin that phrase, it's SHIT happens. Stuff happens.
Right.
Yeah, that stuff happens, right? And they're in a dangerous sport with other highly trained guys, and there is no hard and fast solution to victory. There is no way of just going, if you fight like this, you will never get done. Everyone gets done eventually. Every technique, every style, every counter has a counter. And so you can say, oh, he should have moved to his outside. Yeah, maybe he should have moved to his outside. That's fine. But to say it's like a mistake or an ongoing thing, listen, he won what, 23 minutes of that fight?
Exactly.
It's still the same fight with the same method, same techniques. It's just, like I say, he ended up getting a boot in the head for it.
So many things.
If they do rematch, do you see Leon Edwards getting the confidence from this, not having the fighting altitude maybe benefiting him? I do think he seems like someone where confidence will raise him to another level to a degree.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he seems like quite a quiet, humble, sort of shy, introverted guy. And so maybe this will, really sort of give him that self-belief. But do you see, if they had a rematch, do you see Edwards landing something again? Because let's be honest, I don't see Edwards. If those guys fight to a decision 10 times, I expect Usman to get the decision 10 times. So do you see Edwards getting another finish on Usman? Because I don't think I do. I think Usman will be extra defensive and extra clingy, let's say, if they do.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to be defensive as in, like you say, running away. He'll do the opposite, right? He'll just go in and stay in. As a matter of fact, I've not finished microanalyzing that sequence.
Well, I thought we said we don't like doing it.
I don't like doing it, right? But I thought of another one, right? So, obviously, the worst thing for him was when he he slipped, and slipping means, like you say, he put his head there. Added, even if he had just done something like he parried and slipped, right? He did a double thing. If he'd have just, say, parried and stepped at the same time out that way, he would have taken a load more power off that kick. This would have stayed up. He might have taken some of the kick there, and he would have taken some of the power off that kick, because that kick came there and all the way through. Added done one of those versions of the parries where you parry and you step out a little, he would have gone into that kick and taken off some of the sting. This is for him and Hooft to go and have a chat about. But no matter what they do when they go back and have a chat, you're never gonna guarantee that I'm never gonna get done by that again.
Yeah, you can't eliminate risk in a fight. It's that simple. You can't eliminate.
And it's 5 rounds in.
Can't eliminate risk. And yet, of course, they can sit there and go, man, if you didn't go to that side, if you went to outside his lead foot, which is the conventional, sort of thing that you're told when you fight someone in an opposite stance, they'll go, you wouldn't have got done. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but I'm not being funny. If Hoof did say that to me, I'd go, I'm not being funny, Hoof, though, but when I'm in there for 25 minutes, there are going to be times where I do go the wrong way, so to speak. It's just the way it is.
I forgot it was a cross. To me, it's the jabs. Jabs come from that side. I forgot it was a cross. So, you can say whatever he wants. They didn't have a quick look at his feet and go, right, hang on, I've got time to have a look at this. What's coming? Oh, yeah. Edwards is right. It's going to...
Yeah, a lot of these things, they happen in a split second. They're preemptive. It's very rare that you see a strike and go, right, now what I'll do is I'll slip that one. You're not making conscious decisions. It's muscle memory. It's natural reactions. And he just, like I say, if that leg kick didn't follow, head kick didn't follow, I'd say it'd have circled out and everyone would be going, "Oh my God, see, he's not just a grappler." It is just if you have a fight, you can't not get hit, and he just got hit with the home run. That's it. Look, like I said, I mean, now I don't know if you have done microanalyzing, but I feel like you're not. I hope you are. But if they did rematch, like I say, do you see him landing that strike again? I mean, he's only landed one killer strike in 24, 39 minutes of action. Do you think he can do it again? And that's the last time I'm going to ask that question. If you dodge it again, forget it.
I'm not going to dodge the question because I remember the question's been asked, but I'm not done microanalyzing that sequence. No, I am. Look, if we go off all of Edwards' fights that we can see or in recent memory, as you say, he ain't been banging gizzards out, has he? Or has he?
He hasn't.
Has he been
No. I think he's only got one KO victory. If you remember before, when they were showing the highlights before, the highlight reels before the fight, I think it was Peter Sabota or someone like that he knocked out. I'm really guessing that, but there's only one. There's only one knockout. The rest is just sort of clips of him wobbling people and stuff like that. I mean, if we go to his UFC career, it's decision, KO. Seth Brzezinski. That is basically the same as Peter Sabota. Then it's decision, submission, decision, TKO against Sabota. So I was right.
You're right. Yeah, brilliant. Real.
Decision, no contest, decision, and then obviously KO. So yeah, mostly.
Right, but now he's banged out the best.
The man, yeah. So I mean,
don't matter, right?
Again, if you were an odds maker, you would never have given good odds on that, right? It's like this is a guy who
looking at that
very rarely gets stoppage victories against a guy who doesn't get stopped. Certainly not with punches and kicks. And he goes and
if you're Leon Edwards, the answer to the question is yes, because I've already done it. I've done it against the best bloke. On my way up, I might not have done it, but when it counted, I done it. And you're right. I think that will give him the confidence to go, well, look, he ain't the, what they call him now, boogeyman. I've not only hurt him, it only took me one shot. I had no accumulation here. I took one shot to do him. So of course I know I've got the power. I think it will give him massive confidence. If he didn't win that fight, the time would have run out. And in hindsight, you could easily go, well, you've seen it. I ran out of time to win that fight. Because Usman never stopped me, never wobbled me, never done me. I was getting deflated and, defeated, but you know what I mean? So I think he'll have massive confidence to go, well, it might take me half hour, which means I'll lose the fight. But within 25 minutes, I know I can do it because I've only got him once. So I think he'll be well confident in the next fight. I really do. Also, he's reached the mountain. He's done it. He's done the goal. If he loses, he loses. But he's got it. So I know he wants to keep it, but he has done it, right? So if he loses it, he loses it. It is what it is. But I don't know whether I do agree with you though. It's lightning in a bottle, but that's the whole point. That's why there's so many different weapons. You know, he could have got him down and done an E-bar. No odds would have said it, but I don't know. I mean, that's why that fight was brilliant, right? I mean, it ended up being a brilliant fight because it was interesting.
It was. He said something in the after interview, not just "Can you see me now?" Because obviously he did say that about 500 times.
He did like that comment, yeah.
Yeah.
What about now? How about now?
Yeah. Can
now?
You see me now?
Yeah.
But there was one thing he said where I actually forgot, and I can remember the bit before the bit I liked. He basically said something like, "The belt doesn't belong to anyone," and I really like that saying. So I was like, you know what? That is true. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's on loan to everyone. And I loved that attitude. I loved that comment. And it was brilliant. And I mean, I would have to say Bisping is always going to have that because he was the first UK guy to win a belt. He's always going to have that accolade, so to speak. But let's be honest.
Edwards has an answer for that. You obviously don't know it.
Why am I randomised it? Go on.
Right. He did say Bisping was the first. He's agreed it, and Bisping done it first. I know that. But Bisping did it while living and training in the States. And I specifically stayed in England to prove that you don't need to do that.
Amazing.
Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it? He said, I've proved it. I've stayed here. I've stuck it out, and I've proved that you can do it while being proper England, the training and everything.
Brilliant.
Look, you know what business is like. He's probably going to go, for flip's sake, you know, he's probably going to get the ump with that. I liked it. He took it as this is my personal journey, and this is why I think mine is different. He didn't say Bisping's crap, he cheated. He didn't. He said, no, he done it, but I did it like this.
Yeah, amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And what I was going to say as well is he beat the pound for pound number one. I know we hate pound for pound, and it means literally F all, because now Leon Edwards is going to be above Kamaru Usman in pound for pound. It's like they're 1-1. I mean, the pound for pound thing, honestly, is just a load of garbage, right? Just for people to talk.
Yeah, because record-wise and on paper, Usman is still better.
Of course, yeah. And if they were going to fight tomorrow, who would be the favourite? I guarantee you it would be Usman. I guarantee it.
But even without anything coming up, just look at the resume and who he's done, and having the pressure of being a champ and all 5-round fights and all the ingredients you throw in. Like I say, on paper, not for real in a cage, he's better, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, look, Usman is still
at the moment.
Yeah,
that's how you get your pound for pound. You don't get it through winning the belt.
You don't get it through winning one fight. You don't get it for winning one fight. And, Edwards would have to, defend the belt 3 or 4 times to usurp Usman or some of the other pound guys.
Anderson Silva kept his record. Usman, if he won that fight, he would have done the record.
That's right. Yeah. But I think what I would say is Edwards, when he won it, he beat, even though I know it's a garbage list and it means nothing, he beat the pound for pound number one in the world. Widely regarded.
Yeah, he didn't just beat the current champ.
He didn't just sort of, no disrespect to him, but he didn't just beat Glover or Blachowicz or someone who wasn't an established champion. This is a guy who was going for the record of the longest winning streak and stuff like that. This is a real. To me, it would have been like Ricky Hatton if he did beat Floyd Mayweather. It would have been like that. It wouldn't have been just Ricky Hatton beating, just a random fighter, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but a random fighter for a belt. It wouldn't have been that. It would have been beating the man. Edwards beat the man. That's it. He beat the man.
No doubt.
That is better than what Bisping did. Not diminishing Bisping's achievement. He was the first guy ever and all that. But the truth is, he did stab us in the back. He did go to America. He is a turncoat. Edwards is Ingers. He stayed in Ingers. He beat the pound for pound number one. Edwards is the man. Move over, give up your podcast. No one's interested anymore. Just get lost. You're on TV too much now anyway. Sick and tired of seeing you. I saw him the other day looking all amazing with massive muscles in a vest on the back of a horse. And I'm like, I'm just seeing this guy everywhere now. So
Yeah.
Make way. Edwards is the man.
Make
Done.
way for Edwards, yeah.
Yeah.
But to clarify your point, and it's a very interesting one because you didn't go mad on it, but it's true. Biz has beat Rockhold. I don't know how long Rockhold had held that belt. I can't remember who he done.
It was his first defence, wasn't it? He just beat Weidman, and then he fought Bisping.
Was he get the belt off Weidman?
There was somebody else pulled out. Yeah, the Bisping was a late replacement, wasn't it?
Right. That's not to say it wasn't a wicked achievement. It's one of my favourite moments ever in the whole sport is Bisping doing Rockhold. And, you know, we were just to let you know, in the octagon, by the way, all of it. That's amazing. Yeah. So I love it. But Leon Edwards has just done Usman. And we've seen what Usman's had before him in front of him. And all of them have been title defences. And, yeah, there's no need to compare anyway. But
of course not. No, it's just
people will, and they did. And that was his answer to it. As a matter of fact, he's the one who brought it up. He said, you know, English bloke, blah, blah, blah. I know Bisping done it first, but so, and he didn't even use your comments of the person that he beat to get the belt. And I do think that is. But
if he wants to give me a call and ask if he can use it,
he'll be watching this anyway. He'll be watching this anyway, so he'll just take it.
Well, yeah, you can borrow it then, Leon. No worries.
Right, there you go. Yeah, well, of course, that's what he's for. So, yeah, look. We're just having a chat here. Apologies. No one watches it to get offended or get annoyed. We ain't fighters. We know all that. We're having a chat about what we've seen. So don't start crying about it. You know what I mean, we know we don't know what we're talking about. We're just going over what we see. And what we see is, and I think Usman, to me, technically, like you said at other times, would be applauded for the way he dealt with that punch. Because to me, it was good. He did something, right? A lot of people just stand there and take it in the face or whatever. Don't move the red. Don't do this and that. Oh, it was brilliant. Ain't his fault that a boot came after it, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's it. Is that the end of the chat?
Yeah, I've had enough.
All right. I'll put his shot up again just so that we can remember what we're having a chat about.
Yeah.
The belt.
I was going to say, you need to move that belt over to the other side.
I will just quickly say, so rematch is the talk of the town, and totally understandable as we've said. And I know we don't do gambling. I think we maybe should start putting a little thing on to make it fun. As long as we do this regularly, we should. You'd put the money on, if you did gamble, you'd put it on Usman, yeah? Remember why? I thought Santos Silva, the second fight, I was like, Silva's going to come out and blaze him this time. And whatever it was, 11, 12 months later, he got done again.
Yeah, they'll come up with, I think they've come up with analysis before. The person who wins the first fight, 70% of the time wins the second fight as well. Something like that. But yeah, I would say my heart would obviously back Leon, but my head would back Usman still.
Well, we've just had a recent one.
If the fight was 50-50 going into that fifth round, and then Edwards landed that head kick, my thoughts would be different. But to me, Usman was still, I'm not going to say dominant, because he did lose that first round, right? He definitely lost that first round, easy as well. Edwards got a brilliant takedown and cemented the position. But yeah, it was heading for 49-46.
Easy as well, yeah.
So, I can't.
But it might be, we'll see. It might be the Salt Lake. Get it on his own turf with freezing cold Ingers.
That's it, yeah.
See if that helps.
Yeah. What is it? 40,000 drunk English red-faced fellas singing Sweet Caroline and all that sort of stuff.
Can't go wrong, can you?
Yeah, come and face that, Usman. But yeah. Good. I'm happy for Edwards.
Well, I'm sure he's happy that you're happy.
Yeah, well.
We support the fans. What's wrong with that?
Huh?
Support the fans. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, listen, when that I can't deny that just very, very quickly, because we have finished with this. There was one point, I think it was like in round 4 or something, where he kind of disengaged with Usman. Right? He'd been going for a takedown. He'd managed to fight him off, and then he just stood there near the cage, and Usman just ran straight back into him, grabbed him, and put him on his back. And I went, I was like, you got done there because you were, I don't want to say lazy, right? He's probably fatigued and all these things. So I hate judging these guys in that way. But I was like, you got done there because you were lazy. I said, all you had to do was take after you fought him off, take 2 side steps out, back into the center of the cage. Don't leave yourself, up against the cage or in front of him. And I can't deny I was getting a bit frustrated, a bit like his corner. I was getting a bit frustrated. I was like, let your hands go, throw some jabs, give him something to be worried about.
He's going to pin you up against the fence regardless, right?
Exactly. So you might as well give him a problem, like try and stop him doing it, right? By knocking him out on the way in. And so I was feeling the emotion from that corner as well, like, come on, like, let your hands go. You're a really good striker. And honestly, I didn't see it that fight. He didn't really throw. He didn't show much. Don't use his grappling in the first round. And to me, he showed a lot of good grappling. Like I say, he got to his feet loads, fought off loads of takedowns against a real rock hard grappler. I didn't see much in the way of striking at all. And it was only until he landed that boot that I went, there it is. But before that, I was like, where's your striking? I saw the wicked video of him doing that elbow, head kick, right, on the pads and stuff. And I was like, where's that stuff? Where is it? Throw it. And when he did, look what happened. So I'm not saying that he threw it because of my energy channeling it into him and that the belt is partly mine and that I inspired that kick, but maybe I did.
I never even thought of that until you brought it up.
Possible, isn't it?
It is. Right, well, thanks for doing the chat.
Thank you. Rule Britannia and all that.
Ooh.
Well, he did win, didn't he? You can't deny it.
He did. So, yeah, there you go. That's the chat for UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards card. See you later.
What, is that it? Is that the goodbye?
Think of a better one then.
Oh, no, I can't now. You've just sucked the energy out of him. See you later.
See you in a bit.
Yeah.